Hello again and welcome to another episode of DARTHTUBA'S Star Wars Unboxing Show. I'm your host, Darth Tuba, and be sure to follow me and check me out on YouTube. My channel is DarthTuba, 2 words. You can also like the DARTHTUBA Star Wars Unboxing page on Facebook. Also check us out on Twitter at DarthTuba as well as Instagram, and email me darthtuba77@gmail.com. So, recently we received in the mail the next installment of the Star Wars Smugglers Bounty subscription box, so we're going to reveal that today. And before we do that, though, I have one thing that I'd like to share with you. The folks over at Funko decided to give everyone who was a subscriber this year a little gift. Okay, and I'm not exactly sure what this is. I'm just going to kind of take it out. Oh yeah, okay, it's a medal. Okay, it's actually a Smuggler's Bounty medal. Okay, so I'd put this on right now, but it's going to interfere with my microphone. So I'll get a close-up shot of it at the conclusion, so you can see what it is. But it's really neat. On the back, it says Star Wars Smuggler's Bounty 2015. That's interesting. I do believe that I started this right at the end of 2015, I think I subscribed in December of 2015. So and this came in the mail a couple of weeks ago. So that's kind of cool. All right, that's neat. I'm not a kind of person who the only other place you can get Star Wars medals aside from the prop replica of the Yavin medal is actually if you run the Disney marathons, in which they've started doing Star Wars themed marathons, and have yet to run one of those. And I do plan on it. My wife and I were definitely considering a 5K or 10K sometime in the future, but not yet. All right, so let's go right to the Smuggler's Bounty. This one looks a little bigger than the ones we've been getting. So let me give this a little swipe here, and then we will try to put this open. The subscription box craze is unbelievable now. You can actually, there's things like Loot Crate, and now Disney has a Mickey Monthly and things of that nature, or other people do it and maybe not affiliated with Disney. So there's some pretty cool stuff out there in the realm of subscription boxes. As far as Star Wars is concerned, this is about the only one that is consistent. Sometimes I think certain companies will do a Star Wars theme 1 week or 1 month, but this is the only one I know of that has actually been kind of happening every couple of months or every 2 months. All right, so open this up, and the pin fell out. Oh, okay, well, looks like, I believe the theme is Rebels. Okay, so we've got our pin, which is a Sabine pin, which is really cool. We are big fans of Sabine in this house, mostly because it's the first time that we have had in a Star Wars universe an artist featured, so that's pretty cool. We also have the patch, which is Zeb. It's a cool Zeb patch, and I really enjoy the pin and patch thing. What I basically do with them is in my desk, and it's something to consider doing. At my desk, I have a wall up against the kind of like a backsplash, if you will, and I have a little cork board, and I just basically take the pin and stick it in the cork board in the patch. So you see the pin and the patch together, so you know which pin and a patch are associated together. So that's just one interesting way that you could consider displaying it. But anyway, okay, let's open it up, and we have our little making of, which is interesting. 40th anniversary coming up next. That is going to be exciting. And we have a shirt. Okay, and the shirt looks like it's a Rebels pop tee. Okay. Love the shirts. Not the biggest fan of black. Only because I do a lot of stuff outside. My day job puts me outside a lot in the summer and fall, and this is really great. It's a cool art. It's definitely a cool. It's got the orange and blue kind of feel that the Rebels is known for. I do feel, though, that wearing this out in the blazing hot sun and humidity is not always the wisest move. But nonetheless, still great to have that shirt. And never can have enough graphic shirts. Okay, so we've got this Chopper Smuggler's Bounty exclusive. Okay, this looks like it's a kind of molded, almost red. It looks like disco red. It's just like it's really just a, you know, it's called a Hikari, and then, you know, like a few months ago we did one and it had a similar kind of vibe to it. This is just a you know, just a standard. There's no moving parts to it. I mean, it comes with the other ideas, so it's the other product, so it's fine. It has an odd smell though. Whew, I just noticed it. Ooh, it's very, very, very hard to get past that. Okay, now we have Darth Maul. Darth Maul. Now, if anybody's watched the recent episodes of Rebels, spoiler alert, it's Darth Maul's swan song. So it's kind of cool and appropriate that they brought him back as a Funko Pop in his robot leg glory. What do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of? Leave comments if you wish. But have you seen the Rebels episode with Kenobi and Darth Maul? It was really cool. It was very different. For those who don't realize, the fight sequence, this is cool, by the way. He's got his body tattoos on. And for those who don't realize this, I mean, Darth Maul, I know if you only watch the movies, you might think, oh, Darth Maul, didn't he die? And yeah, you got, you know, Obi-Wan slit him in half at the end of episode 1. But, lo and behold, the maker himself, George Lucas, brought Darth Maul back in the Clone Wars episodes, where first they brought his brother, Savage Opress, his name was, who looked like him, but just tattooed differently. And then later, sure enough, Darth Maul came back. And at first he was with these spider legs that he said, I think the will of the dark side of the Force, or the will of the Sith, kept him alive. And then he eventually came back a little later with robot legs, and he had some more revisitation fights with Obi-Wan. And I think he pretty much beat Obi-Wan a few times, or you know, at least in terms of, he did pretty well against him. And then he came back again in Rebels, and they brought him back actually as a potential lure to the dark side for Ezra, which everybody thought, oh my God, that's going to happen. What's going to happen if Ezra turns to the dark side? That never ended up coming to be. And then lastly, we saw him, was just a few episodes ago. He was in the Tatooine desert looking for Kenobi, and he had found out from one source or another that Kenobi was hiding somewhere on that planet. And Ezra went to go looking, and I can't remember the full story, but Ezra ends up in the desert, passed out. Kenobi rescues him, Ben Kenobi, the older Kenobi, and Stephen Stanton did the voice of Ben Kenobi. And let me tell you something: anybody who has not really been privy to information would swear that it was Alec Guinness. You know, people thought that they found old footage of him that they used the voice from, so it was incredible. So there you go, we have Darth Maul. But anyway, when Darth Maul and Obi-Wan Kenobi fought, it was literally 90% of them looking at each other and showing stances in their eyes, and then I should say more like 95% of them doing that, and then 5% of just swish, 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 done. Obi-Wan killed Darth Maul. So it was, for the Darth Maul fans, I think it was a little bit upsetting, disappointing, but I feel like, hey, we've seen them fight already. We've seen them fight multiple times if you watch Clone Wars, and Rebels. So it's, or not Rebels, but you've seen them fight Clone Wars a few times. It didn't make sense for them to drag on. I think at this point it's like, okay, what's done is done. All right, so that's Darth Maul, and then our final piece of the puzzle is my favorite character of Rebels, Captain Rex. Some people like to call him Santa Claus Rex. Why? Because look at him. He's got a little white beard. All right, people might say, like, wow, they made him old, and they kind of made him a little heavy. Well, for those who don't know this, the story in Rebels is that clones were eventually retired once the Empire was created. They at some point discontinued the clone army, and the clones that were still in service were kind of put out to pasture, and I think they were asked to kind of just, you know, live out their lives. And I think, you know, if they report anything weird or anything suspicious to the Empire. Well, I don't know if they really talked about it, but Captain Rex, and he had a few other clones from earlier episodes. Captain Rex kind of had one of the Clone Wars tank vehicles with that they used as their home, and they were on this planet, and they were kind of just going around, and they were just making do, and they were just kind of staying out of people's way. And they ran into the Rebels gang. They ran into Kanan and Ezra and everybody. Kanan is a Jedi who really remembers Order 66. Did not have a lot of nice thoughts to think or things to say about Rex and the clones. But the thing about Rex is that, I don't know if they show it here, they don't. Rex and the other clones that were on the tank with him, they had cut out the chip out of their heads at some point. Now, what is the chip you're talking about? The chip is the chip that all the clones had embedded in their heads that would eventually lead to Palpatine giving Order 66. And then they would essentially turn on the Jedi during the Clone Wars. Well, at some point, Rex and some of his fellow officers, they had that taken out. Now, whether they had it taken out before or after, they really left that up to discussion and debate among fans. But it turns out that Rex still kind of maintained a good guy position, which was great, because that was my biggest fear watching Clone Wars. It was like, oh my God, this guy's so awesome, and he's such a hero, and he's all about duty and honor, and he's totally with Anakin. And what's gonna happen when everything turns? Is he gonna go with Anakin that way, or is he not? What's he gonna do? Well, it turns out he did not, at least not fully, succumb to the dark side, because then, sure enough, in this whole episode, or a series of episodes, they end up fighting the Empire, and now he's part of the Rebels. And he survived this season, so I'm hoping we get to see a little more Rex next season. If you do not watch Star Wars Rebels, why are you not watching it? It is the awesomest show. It is, yes, it's animated. Yes, it's on Disney XD, and it's so funny because the only show I watch on Disney XD is Star Wars Rebels. So when we watch and we see commercials for other shows and the rest of it is definitely, most of Disney XD, not all of it maybe, but most of it is geared towards middle school kids. But this was definitely something that is geared towards a broader range. Yes, they're simple stories, they're 22-minute stories, but they tell some really great stories. And they have a lot of throwbacks, not only to the original trilogy, not only to the prequels, but there's even a little bit of Rogue One throwback that you start to see in this season. So if you're not watching it, figure out a way to watch it. It is really outstanding. It's a minor amount of commitment of time to see it, and I think you'll really enjoy it. Some episodes are better than others, but the episodes involving Darth Maul and Captain Rex, I feel, are among their best. So that will do it for this episode of DARTHTUBA'S Star Wars Unboxing Show. Again, be sure to like, subscribe, share, pass the word around to other people. DarthTuba on YouTube, 2 words. Follow me at DarthTuba on Twitter, as well as Instagram. And check out DARTHTUBA'S Star Wars Unboxing page on Facebook and like it. And all the new episodes will drop. It seems to be that I generally drop now episodes on Wednesdays and Sundays. Okay, and I'm going to try really hard to keep up with that. Also, if you like the page and if you're you follow me on Facebook, you might also be able to see some live episodes. I'm basically trying to do a few live episodes, like 1 live episode a week, which I then edit down and drop on the YouTube channel as well. So, thank you so much. And again, go out and watch Rebels Season 3 just ended. Go out and watch it. And may the Force be with you.